Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS. Let's get to the news now. Folks, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you could be one of the most transformative pieces of NFL news we've seen in recent years, especially for the NFC South and more specifically for the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, it involves a blockbuster trade rumor that's been swirling for a while now, and it's centered around none other than Tyreek Hill, the electrifying wide receiver who has been a game-changer wherever he's gone. The rumor: Miami Dolphins are allegedly considering trading Tyreek Hill, and the potential destination: the Atlanta Falcons. I know, it sounds almost too crazy to believe, but stay with me because the implications are enormous, and it could reshape the entire division. Let's set the scene a little. The Miami Dolphins, coming into the 2025 season, are at a crossroads. They're a franchise with a lot of talent, especially on the offensive side. Tua Tagovailoa, if healthy, has shown flashes of brilliance, and with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they have one of the most dynamic wide receiver duos in the league. But the problem is consistency. Last season, Tyreek Hill's production took a noticeable dip, and that's raised questions about his role and future in Miami. You see, Hill's play last year wasn't quite what we've come to expect from him. He's been one of the most prolific downfield threats in NFL history, with eye-popping stats and game-changing plays. When he's at his best, he completely opens up Miami's offense, stretching defenses and creating opportunities for everyone else. But last year, for reasons that could be attributed to injuries, scheme issues, or simply a down year, Hill's performance was not quite the same. That's interesting because, as a Falcons fan, you know how vital a true game-breaker like Hill can be for an offense. If you have a quarterback like Michael Penix Jr., who's still on his rookie deal and showing so much promise, adding a player like Hill could accelerate the team's development and elevate their offensive ceiling substantially. Imagine a Falcons offense that already features Drake London and Kyle Pitts, both young and talented, with Hill stretching the field vertically, creating mismatches and forcing defenses to stay honest. It would be a nightmare for opposing defenses in the NFC South. But here's the catch: this isn't just about what Hill can do on the field. It's about the potential trade itself, which has been a hot topic among NFL insiders and analysts. There's a trade proposal circulating from Moe Motton of Bleacher Report, who suggests that the Falcons could send Darnell Mooney and a third-round pick to Miami in exchange for Hill. Now, I know what you're thinking. Darnell Mooney is a talented receiver, but is that enough for a player like Hill? Well, that's the big question. The thing is, Miami's front office, led by GM Chris Grier, has publicly stated that they're not eager to trade Hill, and understandably so. Hill is still under contract for 2 more seasons, with a deal worth $90 million over 3 years. That's a lot of money, and Miami likely sees him as a cornerstone piece for their offense. However, the NFL is a business, and with the season just around the corner, the Dolphins might be tempted to listen to offers if the right one comes along, especially if things don't start well for them. Rumors have been swirling since the end of last season. Hill himself has fueled some of those rumors with cryptic social media posts and interviews, hinting that he's open to exploring his options. And let's be honest, Tyreek Hill is a player who can command a huge return due to his explosive playmaking ability. His speed, route running, and ability to take the top off a defense make him one of the most valuable offensive weapons in the NFL. Now, why would the Falcons be interested in such a high-profile player? Well, first of all, Atlanta is in a prime position to make a push. They have a young quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., who's showing promise, and they've been building around him with talented receivers like London and Pitts. Adding Hill would not only give them a top-tier receiver, but also a true offensive game-changer. It's about taking that next step into genuine playoff contention. The NFC South has been a competitive division lately, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their quarterback, who's still a threat, leading the charge. But with Hill, the Falcons could potentially close that gap faster, especially in the passing game. Think about the possibilities. Hill's speed and agility would complement London's size and Pitt's athleticism perfectly. Defenses would have to pick their poison, double cover Hill deep, and London or Pitts could beat single coverage underneath, or vice versa. The Falcons' offense, which has been steadily improving, could become one of the most explosive in the league. And that's not just idle talk. This kind of upgrade could push Atlanta into a different stratum of offensive power. But as I mentioned earlier, the trade isn't a done deal. Miami's front office, especially GM Chris Grier, has maintained that Hill isn't going anywhere. And honestly, that makes sense. Trading a player of Hill's caliber would require a massive return, and Miami would want to ensure they're getting enough in return to justify it. Plus, Hill's contract situation complicates things a bit. He's still under contract through 2026, and the Dolphins might want to see how this season unfolds first before making a decision. It's also worth noting that, historically, the Dolphins haven't been big traders, especially not for players like Hill. They prefer to keep their stars unless the deal is truly worth it. So, while the idea of Tyreek Hill in a Falcons uniform is tantalizing, it remains in the realm of speculation at this point. But don't be surprised if, as the season progresses and if Miami's fortunes dip early, the trade rumors intensify. The Falcons, on the other hand, should definitely be listening, and maybe even making a strong push to get Hill if they truly believe he can be the missing piece to their Super Bowl puzzle. It's about adding that extra star power, that game-breaking talent, and transforming the offense into a true threat every week. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on how this could impact the NFC South as a whole. The division has been relatively balanced in recent years, but with the addition of a player like Hill, the Falcons could become instant contenders. The Buccaneers, with their veteran leadership, and the Saints, with their own weapons, will have to step up even more to keep pace. It's a fascinating dynamic to watch, especially considering how much the NFL has shifted towards high-powered passing offenses. The Falcons, with the right pieces, could leverage this potential trade to not only compete but to dominate. And beyond just the immediate season, it's about setting up the future. Hill would be a centerpiece for Atlanta's offense for years to come, and with Penix Jr. developing and the young core maturing, the Falcons could be building towards something very special. The division title, playoff runs, and possibly a Super Bowl appearance, all of these become more tangible if they pull off a move like this. But again, let's remember, this is all speculation for now. The NFL offseason is full of rumors, some true, some false, and some somewhere in between. The Dolphins may hold on to Hill, especially if they see a strong start to the season. Or they might decide that a rebuild or retooling is necessary if things go sideways early on. The trade market is always unpredictable, and the NFL's business is driven by both on-field performance and front office decisions. So what can you, as a Falcons fan, take away from all this? Well, first, stay optimistic. The idea of adding a player of Hill's caliber is not just a pipe dream. It's a reminder that the Falcons are always looking for ways to improve and compete at the highest level. Whether or not this specific trade materializes, the team's front office is undoubtedly exploring options to make the 2025 season their best yet. And second, keep your eyes peeled. The NFL is a league that's constantly changing, and the NFC South could look very different in just a few weeks. Remember, the NFL is about stars, strategy, and sometimes bold moves. The Falcons have been building steadily, and maybe, just maybe, a move like this could be the spark they need to elevate the team to a Super Bowl contender once again. It's an exciting time for Atlanta fans, and whether this trade happens or not, the upcoming season promises to be full of surprises. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So in conclusion, the potential trade of Tyreek Hill to the Atlanta Falcons is more than just a rumor. It's a symbol of how ambitious this franchise is becoming. The Falcons are aiming high, and with the right moves, they can position themselves as genuine contenders in the NFC. The league is always watching Atlanta, and if they manage to pull off something like this, it would send shockwaves through the NFL and give their fanbase a huge boost of excitement. We're talking about a team that's been steadily improving, with a young quarterback, a talented receiving core, and now, possibly, a true game changer. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. This is a team in evolution, and the upcoming weeks could bring some of the most exciting developments we've seen in a long time. Thanks for sticking with me, and as always, let's keep supporting our Falcons, because the best is yet to come.